Okay. No makeup, no nothing. I think it's a few minutes after 4. There's something I need to fix before I can start cleaning my kitchen. And that would be a leather palm that I need to finish braiding. And I need to get one more piece of leather in this palm before I can finish braiding her. Just one. That's all I need. And let's see, where did I put my leather? There it is. There's my leather. Don't know how long this braid will be. Just needs to be long enough for a keychain. Hi, music. Hi, April. So what I'm doing today is I'm fixing to finish a leather palm. And I'm adding I need 6 braids so I can do a round braid. If my brain will let me remember how to do a round braid. I need 6 pieces of rope to do a round braid. So I'm just tying in another 2 pieces of rope and getting this situated. Hi, Beverly. It's good to see you again. So this is a raccoon palm that I made last night. David cut it and everything. I just put grommets in it and shaped it into a ball. But I really want to do a round braid on it. Let me tell you the thing about round braids is they're very difficult to remember how to do. And it always takes me several attempts, but it's really what I want to do with it. So I thought, well, I'll try with you all. And if I don't get it right, I'll have to go back and find a tutorial somewhere and try to figure it out. So let's scooch down for a minute and see if I can figure this out. I don't know if I can or not. Okay, so a round braid, you have 6 pieces of leather and you have 3 on each side. And normally it's the highest piece of leather will go around the back to the other side, go over, under, over, under, and then be pulled into the 3 on the other side, which leaves one over here being the highest. So you pull it over to the other side and you go over, under, over, and into the other 3 at the other side. And you have to really pull and finagle with these things to keep them going in the right way. So you constantly have 3 on each side, and they just keep switching sides. And eventually, once you get down several strands, it starts to take on a round shape. So again, now we go from this side around the back, over, under, over, and to the other side. I probably should have wet this leather before I started braiding. Wet leather braid's a little bit better, but that's okay. And now we're going to go from this side. Always take the highest string, go around, and go over, under, over, and to the other side. And pull them tight. So we're starting to see it take some shape now. And this is one of those braids that takes forever to take shape. So don't bully yourself. It really is just a butthole. It's just a butthole braid. Okay, so now we're going to take back from this side and go over. Or go around, go over, under, over, and to the other side. You get your high string on this side, go around, go over, under, over, and to the other side. This reminds me a lot of the medieval braiding that women did on their fingers in medieval time. So now we're back to this side. Go around and over, under, over and pull it to the other side. And back to this side, around and over, under, over, into the other side. That one wanted to be a booger for me, didn't it? Okay, it started to take some shape now into a round braid. Find the highest one over here, take it around the back, go over, under, over, and to the other side. Now look at this side, go around, over, under, over, to the other side. Every once in a while you have to kind of push it and make it work for you. Back to this side, you go around, over, under, over, and to the other side. And look at your 3 here, take the highest one, go around, over, under, over, and to the other side. Work with your leather. Tell it what you want it to do. Don't let it be a butthole. And what I'm probably going to do is put a palm or something down here. Or a bow. I don't know. I haven't figured it out yet. Now we're going to take this side and go around and go over, under, over to the other side. My leather's making noises. Take the highest one over here. Over, under, over, and to the other side. Now, anytime you braid, you honestly, you probably want to wet your leather. It would braid a lot better if I was wetting my leather. But you start to see the round curvature, and once I work with it for a little while and kind of take a needle and tighten it up, it will be round. You can get strips of this leather. You can actually buy it on eBay or Amazon, but make sure you get authentic leather. And I think this is a 3mm cut. You can also get round leather, which makes it easier. But whatever leather you buy, keep it between the 3 to 5mm mark and make sure that it's authentic leather, because the faux stuff just falls apart on you. It just falls apart and will not. It's not good. And like even just my hand strength, even though I don't have any hand strength, but even my hand strength pulling on it will break it mid braid. So always make sure that you're getting real leather. And I just ordered some deerskin leather for some braiding I've got to do on another project. So, and your first one will not be perfect, so don't like challenge yourself to try to have everything be perfect, because perfection is a figment of people's imaginations. Perfection is not something you can ever attain. So just go for, I'm going to get better every time I do this. But wetting your leather does help. It would have made it hard for me to have handled my tech and leather and all this other stuff, but wetting your leather does help. For leg chaps, I would say probably go ahead and get a really light steer leather. And I wouldn't get deerskin or anything if you're needing chaps for protection, especially if you're going to be riding and in the bramble. I would go ahead and just get authentic cow leather, because they'll make it just a tad bit thicker over your thighs and your knees, just for protection. Deerskin, you can't really, it's really only one thickness because deerskin is so thin, and it may be easier and prettier. That's what a lot of the show chaps are made out of, and they may be easier and prettier on people that are showing horses, but if you're doing actual work, and you want chaps that are going to stop actual briars, just go for authentic cattle, and tell them that you want it a little bit thicker over your thighs and knees, and they can leave a little bit more thickness over your thighs and knees to help stop some of those horrible, I mean, absolutely horrible briars. I always liked short chaps when I rode because they didn't get in my way, because I was always super short. I was always so short. And so I always rode with the little cut-off chaps. And everybody was always like, oh, you don't even have real chaps. Well, no, I had real chaps. But the thing is I would get off a horse, and then in 5 minutes, I would be called over to help my dad shoe one. And so my chaps were kind of riding chaps, a.k.a. shoeing chaps, whatever they needed to be. But if I had long chaps, I couldn't have been up under a horse shoeing it, because that horse could have got, flighty, and I'd had a hard time getting away from him, stumbling over all my extra leather. And so I never got super long chaps until I was showing horses, and then I couldn't stand them. I rolled them up everywhere I went. And Haley had a couple pair of super long chaps, but they weren't her favorite thing to deal with either. But okay, so there is leather getting better now. I'll have to work with it and push on it and stuff, but that is a round braid. That's a 6-strand round braid. And even if you do the flat leather like I'm using here, it will still end up being round. It just takes time. Leather's one of those things that time does it some favors. So this will probably be a very long-lasting keychain. And the kids got me some lobster clasps, so somebody's going to get a lobster clasp on this one so that they can hang on to it on their keys, which I thought was super sweet of my kids. They went to Hobby Lobby and they picked that up for me. I thought that was so sweet of them. Every time they go for her baby appointment, they take the opportunity of being in the big city and they run by Hobby Lobby. Hobby Lobby is somewhere we don't get to go that often. Now, that doesn't look the best in the world. I've got a couple of braids that just are going to be buttholes, but honestly, it looks pretty doggone good. I would be very happy to have that as hang on for my keys. I'm going to put a little leather accentuator down here. Basically, it's a hair wrap, a dread wrap. I use them to keep my bangs back, but it adds just a little bit of a bling and makes it just a little bit prettier at the finished end, and then I glue it a little bit. And what I'm going to do now is hook this into a keychain or a lobster clasp. I haven't made my mind up. I may go ahead and do a lobster clasp and do a gathering knot so that nobody can tell how I tied it on there. Gathering knots are not as difficult as most people would have you believe. They can get a little tricky if you are using leather. They can be a little tricky, I'm not going to lie. But all in all, they're not that bad. Let me cut my leather off. It's hard for me to do because my hands don't always work, but I enjoy showing people what they are. How many of you have ever used a gathering knot? It is a macrame knot of all things, but it's used a lot in other things as well. Let me see if I can fit all of these pieces of leather in this tiny little hole. Not me, not ever used a gathering knot? Okay, well, let me see if I can show this to you if this leather will comply. Sometimes the leather won't comply, and then I have to go for a smaller wrap to go around it, and that's okay too. That's when I start to use some pops of color and really have fun with whatever Dave has tossed on the table that he's made in the shop. I get to kind of tweak it and make it mine, and I enjoy that. Okay, so what I've done is just pulled all my bits of leather through that lobster clasp, and then I'm just going to turn it back down on itself. And you want to kind of find the smoothest way that they can all live together in harmony. But you see where the braid stops, and there's this part right here. I want those to be equal because the gathering knot's going to go around there and look like a finish. Okay, so let's tip down again. I hope y'all can see when I do this. Let's see if I've got a piece of string. I think this one's long enough. We'll see. If it's not, I'll get another. So you make a loop. You take your piece, put it under your thumb. You make a loop that's just a little bit longer than what you're covering. This is where my hands have a lot of problems because I have a neuromuscular disorder. And this is where lots of times you'll see me resort to using twine because the twine is a little bit nicer on my hands, but I really want the leather on this one. Okay, try this again. I'm gonna hook that there, make a loop a little bit longer than what I'm wrapping. And then I'm going to start going around with my leather, and I'm going to be tight, but I'm also going to be orderly. So I'm going to stay in a row, watching my leather, making sure it stays in the formation I want it in. And when we get to the last one, we're going to pull it through the loop that we made. We're going to hang on to it. Then down here, if I can, yeah, this is it. We're going to find the leather that started the hoop. Not it. Not it. Not it. Not it. This is where I have problems too with leather. This is going to be it. And what we're going to do is pull that back through. This is another reason I use twine or a different color half the time. I've got them really tight now. That's good, I guess. Okay, work with me here, Bubba. Come on. I may have it caught as well. That happens sometimes too. Oh, found him. There he is. There he is, pulling now. So hang on to that side and pull, and let him pull that knot underneath all that leather. And my hands are not having the best of days. But as you can see, that knot is receding under the leather here. And you just kind of get forceful. Oh, I'm stronger than I think I am. Okay, let me shut this off. Now the knot is down in under this leather. So I can go ahead and cut off this sprout. I don't know where that went. That was hilarious. And then I can go down here and I can cut off all these sprouts. Or if somebody wanted fringe, you could leave fringe, but I don't have enough to go all the way around. It took me a minute to find my pull rope though, didn't it? That was funny. We're going to cut all these off as close as we can. That's why I'm using wire nippers. I can get real close and not worry about cutting anything else. And so it is tucked in there. I'm going to cut this one off. It's tucked in there, and when you use your leather concrete or your leather cement to set it, you just kind of line anything that might have moved back up. Like I've got two right here that crisscrossed. I'll straighten up. I'll straighten them up. And then the things I cut off, I will tuck up under. And then it will look just like it got leather wrapped and held. You can't tell where the end is and how somebody tied it. So that's the mechanism I try to use. And sometimes I will go in after I will go in after and still do like a small twine bonus, like pop color underneath it, just for security. Just because I am constantly wanting these things to last as long as they possibly can. And I will use my little nipper sometimes too to also pull the little cut pieces over to where they need to live and hide up under stuff. So it's very difficult with my hands though. Some days when my hands are really not functioning, then this one's very hard for me, and I'll have to go to a wax twine in order to get a closure on one. But I got this one done today, and I think a lot of it is my eyes paired with my hands at the moment. I about ate that. My eyes paired with my hands at the moment, and I'm just struggling more than normal because of the duo. But that'll get better as soon as I get my eye exam done here in a couple of days. So then I'll have my glasses in just a few weeks. So there's the final poof. It looks like he had a rough day, so you're just gonna skish him back up and make him cute. So there's the poof. And what I'll do is I'll work with this leather in a couple of spots it wanted to be a butthole, and then I will put leather cement on the knot, and it dries clear and it won't move after that at all. But I'm going to add a little pretty down here just to add a sparkle. And if people don't like these, they can take them off. I just like it. It holds the leather together and it adds a sparkle. And I just think it's cute, so I put them on there. And if people get them and they don't like them, they're more than welcome to take them off and throw them away. I just think it helps them have a little bit more class. That, and I think about like if you were to drop it at night and lose it, if you had a flashlight and it caught it caught the silver under the leather, it would absolutely let you know where your palm is. So we've got one braid right there. I've got to straighten out. He's being a booger butt. Stop being a booger butt. Go up in there and be a good boy. Thank you. So that is a round braid with a gathering knot, all leather, with a lobster clasp closure. I can talk. So some of these I know people just want a keychain through them and a little clasp to hook. They don't want a braid. They don't want anything braided, twine, color. And so I'm trying to make a bunch of them. I can't even get this off. I'm trying to make a bunch of them of different types so that no matter where David ends up going to sell, he's going to run across people that are going to be able to find exactly what they want. So this leather cement goes on white, but it dries clear, and you literally just use your finger and put it in the areas where you want a little extra hold or a little extra toughness. And I put it under the ends so they don't move and come entangled, and I put it around where we wrapped to tie to give the knot a little bit more stability. And that's about all I do. And then it has to take about a couple hours to dry. And then I put it in the curio so that when Dave loads up to go to all these places, he knows everything in the curio is done and ready to be packed up and can go with him. So that will dry perfectly clear and help that leather hang on for years. So I like my little palms. I think they're cute. I'm glad I come up with it. I know I'm not the first, but David was just wanting keychains, and I didn't kind of know what to do with the keychains. Now he brings me stuff every once in a while, and I'm like, I don't know what to do with those. And I'm going to show you a perfect case in point where I just said, I don't know what to do with those. I think they're awfully cute. Now, if there are small children in the room, you may want to move them. I'm going to use this piece of cowdy to make earrings. I'm going to make little round drop dangle earrings. So that's my next venture. After I've got to get my dishes done first. I'm bribing myself to do my dishes. But every once in a while, David brings me stuff that he thinks I can use on dream catchers, or if I'm trying something out, I can try. Then he was like, we're missing on a gold mine. I need you to really look at these and see if you can use these in any way. Who knows what those are? For sometimes I do giveaways. I have a generator that generates a number, and then we go through the number of comments, and the commenter at that number normally gets a prize. We normally do those on Sundays when my husband's with me. Gypsy knows what this is. Anybody else know what this is? Yes, it's part of a raccoon. That's it. This is a very private part of a raccoon after it's been cleaned out and skinned and sanitized. Otherwise, I wouldn't be handling it. And a lot of women have them made into earrings. Now, I don't have a long enough neck. I'm too fat. But a lot of women want them made into earrings with wire wrapping around them. And I'm like, okay. I guess. I've never thought about these because the big joke here was to whittle them down and make toothpicks to sell to tourists. I'm not lying. Oh my, yeah, and make toothpicks to sell to tourists. So he brought me in. He brought me in 4. And I don't quite know what to do with them. Oh my gosh, yes, I remember that now. Oh, that's hilarious. So I don't quite know what to do with them, or to just sell them to somebody else that knows what to do to craft-wise with them. The bull version of these you can make whips out of. But I don't quite know what to do with these. But David brought them to me, and I was like, well, okay. No, it doesn't. Well, my husband's a trapper and tanner, so he traps most everything, but this is just like, okay, Dave, this may be a bit too much for me. I like my coyote tooth jewelry and my coyote tooth earrings, and I like my fur palm purses and even my weird ceremonial sticks that I make, for my native family. I'm fine with all that. I just don't quite know what to do with these. Can you email me your elephant quilt? Or you just want to show me your elephant quilt? We normally have one person in the family that does jerky for everybody because we all donate, and it's normally my uncle. He makes really great jerky. So we make deer jerky, and it depends on who goes and hunts where, what all meat we get. But normally it's deer jerky. But I don't know. I don't know what to do. Don't know what to do with these. I think I may just put them in a crafting lot. I don't like that would be it would be in the way if it were a necklace. And I know that some women have extremely long necks. But honestly, that's a bit much. I don't know. I might try to make a couple pieces, see if I can make them pretty, and have people at least have a laugh at them. Maybe at the next couple of festivals that David goes to. But the thing is that we can also do coyote versions, and I just don't know. I just don't know if that would be something I'm able to jump into. So I asked for my skulls and bones for my dream catchers I'm working on, and he threw those in there and said, find a way to use those. I think their use is done. Don't know what else they can do. But we can try for some earrings. We might possibly try. David has been hoping we would get a bigger crowd. Last Sunday, we did not have a big enough crowd for anything because that was the day that they found Kylie, and literally they found her the moment we went live. And I knew everyone would go and watch that because I would have gone to watch that if I hadn't been live. So we did not try to do any giveaways or anything last week. We just tried to check in and say hi with a few Evans that hung in with us, and we thought that was terribly sweet. It depends on how much I get done today. If I can get something made, then I may make an extra and do a giveaway tomorrow. It would likely be a ring or a pair of earrings from where I'm looking at. That would be what I would be looking at. Wind chimes. They don't, I mean, I don't know. You'd have to buy a whole bunch of material to make them the least bit musical. I mean, you could make them look cool and like do feather drops with them off of dream catchers. I'm just not sure what kind of dreams that would create. Sorry, I just tickled myself. Oh, not sure what kind of dreams that might create. So I'm not sure. Yeah, star stick for honey or tea. I mean, the natives use them for star sticks. They use them for needles. They use them for lots of things. And there's still a lot of people that use them for those things. And so they sell them raw for people that want them. I just thought my husband, I think he just like, here, you can zhuzh that up. I just don't know if that's something I can zhuzh up. It's just like, I don't know if I can work with that. Thank you for thinking of me, though. Oh, Lord. But, yeah, he definitely took that to a funny place, if you ask me. Now, this raccoon, the top of the skull is going to be going on a dream catcher, so I'm going to be taking his teeth out and making raccoon teeth earrings. So if anyone is interested, they have to pass the David exam when David gets home. And I'm saying these little teeth are so cute. Look, it's got a little tiny forked root on it. It's so cute. And then the big ones are actually quite substantial. I put leather cement all over my hands. He doesn't have his fangs anymore. I don't know where they ended up. But I'm taking what teeth he does have out of his head so that I can glue him flat to my dream catcher. So I get to be a dentist for about 15 minutes. My email is watersworkload, 1T, watersworkload@gmail.com. So this skull's been bulled out and sanitized and cleaned, so I don't really have to do anything else to the teeth. I like to kind of leave the patina on the teeth, the color. I used to chalk paint them, but you know something, I just didn't like the way it looked. It didn't look authentic, so I stopped. And I'm working on getting a couple of little bracelets that's got little holder spots, about 6 little holder spots around the bracelet to pour resin. And I'm going to do either weasel teeth or a raccoon teeth, or it's going to be a tooth bracelet. It's going to be a tooth bracelet. So I'm waiting for that to arrive. I've ordered that. And I hate to put teeth on the dream catcher because, number one, it normally doesn't allow me to glue to the solid skull, which I need to. And then it also, if they fall out later, it freaks people out. So I try to just take the teeth out and keep them with me. It tends to work better that way. And I need to get my pliers. The ones that I make for other people, I don't really take a whole lot of pictures of. Because the dream pictures I make for people are normally very personal. Denise has shared quite a few pics. You can also go to a page called Noodle Mash, and she displays one that was commissioned for her. I didn't know where it was going, but someone commissioned it for her, and I made it. And so you can go to Noodle Mash, and just a few scrolls down, she's got a very short video about the dream catchers I made for her. I could post the ones that Denise shared to community again later once I get done being a dentist. But I try not to put teeth on there unless they serve a particular purpose or they're front and center, because they will fall out and they will freak people out. And even if you glue them, sometimes they'll still fall out. So I try to not freak people out. I try to remove them before the tooth leaves me. It was so much easier with pliers. Imagine that. Come on, give me your tooth. Thank you. I ran into an oddities community on Facebook last night. Literally did a 2-hour presentation of what all David had. It was exhausting. It was exhausting. Okay, now he's toothless and he's ready for the dream catcher I've been working on. And normally if I use a bottom jaw, I do leave the teeth in the bottom jaws. It's only the top jaw that I remove them. Bottom jaws, I leave teeth in. I glue with jewelry glue so they won't come out. And I do leave the teeth in the bottom jaw. But the top jaw, because I like for it to lay flat up against the netting, I take the teeth out and normally put a piece of felt behind it to adhere it to the netting. This is a beaver jaw, and this is how big their teeth are. They go way back in their skull. A lot of people don't know that. Like, you can take it fully out and then put it back in. If I could drill through these would be cute earrings. But that's beaver tooth. Beaver jaw. And so I like to use these on dream catchers too, because these little suckers, these little guys, they never give up. This is a great animal. I mean, they destroy acreage and little turds, but they're great animals because they never get up. I learned this going to powwows and to council houses and being pulled with the elders over to the tents. And this is what the little girls and the elder women did. We learned how to craft and do certain things. There were certain things we couldn't do until we were older, which was the ceremonial sticks. And so we worked mostly on dream catchers and smaller crafts and beading and stuff like that. So now, since I'm old and now that I'm home all the time now, I thought, well, I'll just go back and I'll do all the things that I wanted to do but was too young then. And so I've started doing some stuff, and I've had a couple of things purchased by people that actually use them for powwows, for ceremony, which I think is kind of neat. I mean, to have my stuff actually go back and be used by my people. So I can't complain. I've had pretty good feedback. And we've got a pumpkin festival coming up soon, so I'm trying to help David get as much of his stuff finished as possible so that he can have as much stuff there, as many options as people may want. They can purchase whatever. Let me get my jewelry bar. And my jewelry pinchers. Where are my curtains? Where are my curtains? I have way too much stuff to keep up with. I mean, this is just so much stuff to keep up with. I also have some raw gemstones that I might do a giveaway on if anyone's interested in raw gemstones. There's another bag of teeth. If you didn't know me, you'd probably be scared of me. I pack around bags of teeth. There's the little ones. I just need my green-handled ones. Where are y'all? You think it'd be the first ones I find with a big green handle sticking out, but no. Come here, fellas. Where are you? Where are you? Oh, well, maybe Dave has got them. I do get my stuff borrowed a lot. And then it's like, oh, yeah, I borrowed that. And I'm like, oh, yeah, bring it back. Okay, here we go. Here we go. Got some jump rings in here. Okay, here we go. Found them. They were in the wrong basket. I am mildly organized. I swear I am. Yeah, my great-grandma was Cherokee. My dad's Scots-Irish, so I look like a potato farmer, but my mom is Cherokee. And I just did not get her beautiful skin. My brother did. That irritates me to no end. I just want y'all to know. So I have some larger coyote teeth here. And I'm just looking for size-wise mates to each other. That leather concrete is all over my fingers. Okay, and then I have my little raccoon teeth, and I'm going to put the ones I'm not going to use, I'm going to put them in a separate container because he did not have all his matching teeth. And it looks like I'm going to get, looks like I'm going to get 3 pair of matching teeth out of the raccoon. So that's not too bad. That's not too bad at all. And then I have these vertebrae that I use on my dream catchers as well. This is coyote vertebrae. And I use them as like feather drops. And I can display a feather really pretty out of it. Okay, so it's been a hot minute since I've made earrings, so let's all take a deep breath. I mean, it really has been a hot minute. It's been several weeks because normally when I make them, I make a bunch and then I don't have to make them for a while. And so it's been quite a while since I have made any. What I'm doing now is just looking for jump rings so that I can put them on the clasp, because I like a Lewis clasp on my earrings. I don't like the other clasp because I don't like the way that they hang in people's ears. I'm picky. Some people just use the shepherd's hooks, and that's fine. I just don't trust the shepherd hooks completely, so I always try to use different options, because if I don't like them, I know other people out there probably don't like them. And so I try to use what I like and what I know I trust in my ears. So it looks like I'll be making my own jump rings here shortly as well, because I'm running out of them, but that's okay. I have some somewhere. But what we're going to do is we're just going to start wrapping, and we're going to put these on Lewis back hooks. Jennifer, if you're anywhere around the Kentucky line to Tennessee, there's probably a very good chance that we are related. Because that's where my crew kind of set up shop and didn't move away from. Okay, so let's get this. I don't know how much wire I have left. Not a lot. And there may be such a thing as I can make these without using a jump ring. I don't know. Let's see how big my wire is. Sometimes I like to use the big wire and it won't go through my Lewis hooks. I'm going to have to use jump rings on these. That's okay though. So I'm going to cut these off. That thing just jumped right out there. Okay, let me tip this down for a second. Let me see if anybody said anything else. Okay, let me tip this down for a second. You can watch me. Now, I'm not the best at wire wrapping. I do have a neuromuscular disorder, so I do get FUBAR every once in a while, but that's okay. It's okay. What I'm going to do first is just make a mess, apparently. What I'm going to do first is just make my hoop. Straighten it up, bring it on around, and I'm going to wrap the excess. And then I'm going to pinch and closed. I usually have 2 pairs in my hands, 2 pairs of wire. And I'm pinching that into the wire so it will not hurt anybody. So we've got all we've got is our hole. I'm so white that won't show. All we've got, right in front of my shirt, all we've got is our hole where we're going to put our jump ring so that we can hook it onto our Lewis hook. And I want a little bit of dangle. I want a little bit of movement, so I'm making my holes a little bit bigger so that I'll get a little bit more movement. Because these little guys do not weigh a lot. And since they don't weigh a lot, you have to kind of have a mechanical feel so that they can move on their own without having a bunch of weight. So basically your hoops and your stuff has got to be loose enough and big enough to allow them to move more freely so that they do get more movement. Now, we don't want them swinging all over the place, but we do want them able to move and to have good movement. So I just used my jump ring, and I still got leather cement all over my hand, and I'm going to try to get my Lewis hook in there. And I'm blind, y'all, so make fun of me if you want to. I won't be blind soon. I'm getting my glasses back soon. So I've got all those on there. Now I've got to close it the way I opened it. So I got to grab clip here, grab clip here, and push in, and push in. You try to never make those go sideways because you don't want to teach the metal that it can go a different way. And I'm just going to crimp those in hopes that it will stay there. So now I've already got my back on the jump ring on this that I'm going to use to wrap the tooth. I'm just checking to see if anybody said anything else. Okay, so you want to go a little less than halfway down and place your tooth, because then when you come up and wrap your tooth, you're only going to have so much to wrap back. So you can even go there and cut some off if you want to. I'm going to use the biggest ones first, and these teeth have got 3 prongs, which makes them very easy to wrap. So you kind of want to start in the back, go up a side, keep your metals tight. Go around your metal. Go around the other front prong. And then go back up the back. Now this looks messy as corn right now, but I have braced him in there in a way that he can't fall out. And now all I'm going to do is take my pliers and everything and just tighten stuff up. Pull the metal as tight as possible. Pull any loose spots to where it's got a really good grip, but it's also kind of stylishly wrapped around him so it's not ugly. And then what we're going to do is we're going to pull our Lewis hook out of the way. I do not know how to zoom in. I wish, and I'm so blind I have to hold it up. My cats are climbing the house. That's hilarious. Now what we're going to do is, since we've got it all the way up here, we're just going to wrap. Yes, Oscar, you've never barked in 9 years, but you're going to bark at that. Oh, I better not have a freaking bear on my front porch again. My dog's growling. Let me go see what it is. Did the bear come back? whatever rolled and scared the crap out of them. Oh, it's a dog. Yeah, stay. 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 Get on out of here. Get on out of here. Don't you run toward me. I will shoot you. Get on out of here. Get. Somebody cut the dang dog up. I kill it. Sorry. And that would be country neighbors. There's a pit bull running through my yard, and it turned to run toward me, and I thought, no, we don't do that around here. You will shorten your life expectancy. And it took off, and it's ran back down through the creek to the neighborhood now, so I guess somebody's turned it loose. I politely told them to put it back up. I don't know if it got one of my cats or not. I'm cat poor right now, where my cat brings all the kittens in she finds all over everywhere. So now I'm going to have to keep an eye out for stupid neighbors' dogs coming through and killing crap. Okay, sorry. Now all we're doing is just winding. So all we're doing is just winding that silver band up. And you can correct it later if you like have a gap. You can use your pinchers to correct it later. It doesn't have to be perfect. And to be quite honest, the ones that are the most imperfect are honestly the ones that people buy. Boggles my mind, but those are the ones they go after. So I'm like, hey, whatever floats your boat. So I'm just wrapping, just going slow and trying to keep them close, but they will gap, and I will have to use my tweezers to pull them back down. I knew that wasn't a normal cat issue because my dog never barks at the cats. He only barks at black bears that come on the porch and other dogs. I didn't think we had any dogs loose in a while around here, though, because we had one loose earlier in the summer and had to talk to the neighbor about it because he kept coming over and ripping my porch decor off of my porch and then taking it off. And I didn't know where he ever gone with it, but he certainly didn't bring it back. So there is just one little raccoon tooth earring, and I'm just going to pinch these down here together in a way that will provide a little bit more stability on how they pull against the tooth to hold tight. I need to pop him back over. And all you do is just work with it to get it hanging like how you want it to hang. And I'm going to loosen this back up and move him back over. So I liked him better over there. You will be amazed at the people that will fall in love with these very simple little earrings, and they just really fall in love with them and have to have them and are really super excited when they find 1 to 2 pairs of them, because I guess not many people make them. Oh, speaking of which, did y'all hear, people don't make them because of PETA and stuff now that they go after people. Speaking of which, did you hear about PETA going after the 4-H'ers at the county fair up in Wisconsin? If that didn't beat all I ever heard. Now, if anybody has ever seen a 4-H'er in their animal, you know that 4-H'er loves his or her animal. They put all kinds of work and love into that animal. I mean, it's a bond. I still remember my very first market lambs and my very first heifers. And, I mean, it's just a bond you create that is unlike anything that you'll ever come across again in life. And I loved my 4-H animals. And it's so funny because PETA was going after the 4-H'ers. And they went into the 4-H barns and, like, chased all the kids out, like, terrified the kids and chased all the kids out. And turned all the animals loose, y'all. Turned all the animals loose. Do you know how dangerous that is to turn rams loose with wethers and with ewes? I mean, and especially some that are bred so particularly. I mean, that was so dangerous. So the kids had to end up calling the law, which is silly, at the county fair. The kids had to end up calling the law, and police showed up and helped the kids get the animals rounded back up. And I guess went after the people that were there and did that, which, yay, they needed to. Put a whole lot of lives at risk. I mean, we're not talking about little lambs that weigh, 20 pounds jumping around. We're talking about 300-pound breeding ewes, Suffolk breeding ewes, that could trample people, could trample kids, especially loose at the fair. Are you stupid? I mean, that's why they're kept up so carefully in those barns, separate, and they have people watching them. I just can't believe they did that. I mean, it was just like, wow, I cannot believe that they would do something like that to kids that love those animals. Those kids love those animals. I still think of my 4-H animals from time to time because they are the ones that really got me bonded with animals and interested in. I did a whole lot of wildlife management, and I created a waterfowl management area with my high school so that the land could not be touched for 100 years. So we were all looking for ways to save the land and save it from being developed. And that's what we came up with. And, all of this was from a love that 4-H taught me. And so I was just devastated when I heard that news story. But thank goodness that the authorities are actually going after these people. And these people don't get an out anymore just because, they're emotionally incapable of understanding somebody else's life. So, I mean, I have, I'm like, okay, you got your own way of living. That's it. You go live your own way. But I am not actively going to try to then affect your way of life. It is not a thing for me. I'm not going to do that. So where I stop with this whole PETA stuff is where they actively go and affect others' lives. To me, that's something that you should never do. You live your life, you live it the way you want it, but you should not ever have an impact on someone else's life. Not negatively in that way. And if you do, you should pay for it. So I'm pinching this jump hook back together now. I hate jump hooks. And normally I make my own. I just wire everything in as one piece. But these Lewis hooks have got very specific size holes in them. And because of that, some of my larger gauge wires I like to work with around teeth will not go into the little Lewis wire slots. So I just have to deal with it. Oh, he had collars on and he ran straight back to home. They've just turned him loose. I think he lives, there's a little tiny neighborhood, about 6 families that are across the creek and over the hill from us. And he probably come through there. Now, I'm not as rural as people think I am. Now, my parents are 30 minutes off the mountain, 7 miles off a gravel road. I'm not nearly as rural as people think I am. Well, I am because my entire area is rural. Like, it's an hour and 15 minutes to either interstate you want to get on. We're all rural. But because I'm in the middle of farming land, when the one farmer left, I don't know if he died or just sold, they turned part of his area into a little tiny subdivision around a pond so that people that wanted to live near a pond could buy homes near a pond, and which is fine. It's fine. But in the process, these people moved in and they forget that even though I'm over the hill and over the creek and up another hill and through the woods, their animals come over here if they turn them loose. And it's like, I don't need your animal over here. And it hasn't been a problem in a long while. Normally when we had minis and stuff here, I kept a miniature Mediterranean jack, and they're great for coyotes, dogs, anything that comes in the field. By God, they will chase them out. They don't give none. They just go after and remove what is in their area and say, nope, you don't belong here. And we don't have him anymore because the kids went off and growed up. And I can't always get to the barn to feed and maintain and check on things, so it wasn't logical for me to keep him with my disability. And to not always, let's drop that, to not always know if I'd be able to check up on him and take care of him. And so we sold him. And since then, I guess the word got out in that neighborhood that we don't have that Jack that would chase dogs anymore. He would chase him right out of the barn lawn. He'd hightail him right back home. I thought it was adorable. But they started turning the dogs loose more and more often. And now it's just like they don't even care, and they'll just turn them loose all the time. And we had one coming through in the summer it actually killed three cats. And we have feral cats around here that just decide that you're the home where they want to live, and they just make you set up residence in your barn. My allergies have been awful, y'all. I'm sorry. And, well, you know, feral cats, they take the risk being barn cats. You know, it's just part of life, part of farm life. But then he got really sassy about what he was getting away with. And he snuck up behind my husband one day. And when my husband turned around and said, "Get on out of here," he growled at my husband. And my husband went on Facebook that night and said, "I don't know," and put up pictures of the dog. He said, "I don't know who owns this dog." He said, "If it comes back in my yard and growls at me one more time," he said, "you will be minus a dog." He said, "If you love your animal, keep it on your land." He said, "Because when it gets off your land, it does not act, you know, like the lovey-dovey little pooch you think he is. Be responsible." And it never showed back up again because they knew it wouldn't end well. But it came after him and growled at him. And we just don't tolerate that. You know, if they come on the property and they're friendly, we try to call the neighbors and say, "Hey, your dog's over here, come get it. We can't have it over here. We've got too much stuff for it to get into. It's you know, doesn't need to be over here." And we don't never have a problem. We just let them know that it don't need to be over here. And those two were new ones, so somebody new may have moved in, or somebody may have got two new dogs, but they had collars and stuff on. But that pit bull turned and ran at me when I hollered at it. No, I ain't having that. And like aggressively ran at me. I ain't having that. That will happen one time. The second time it happens, no. So probably what I'll have to do is call the sheriff's department and let them know we've got more dogs roaming. And if they can go through and try to identify who owns those animals or where those animals are going and give them notice. Because I cannot, with my health, I cannot wrestle a dog away. So they need to put their dog up. I'm not going to get hurt over somebody's animal that's not well trained. You know, because anyone that has an animal knows that when your animal leaves your property, you don't know what they're capable of. You just don't know what they're capable of. And you just have to accept that and be like, yeah. I am country, but I'm not as country as my mom and dad are. And when that farmer sold, there's a big farm still over there, but when that farmer sold, they just put the weirdest little mid-ritzy neighborhood in the weirdest spot. And we all have had to deal with it, but it's not a big deal normally because we can't even really hear them. It's just when they let their animals go crazy. But no, I think this is probably the least rural I've lived in my life where I live right now. So, because I used to live on a 75-acre cattle farm 4.5 miles back off of a bluff road. That was interesting. So, and we bought here specifically so the kids could go to 2 separate schools and they could choose whichever one they wanted to go to. So they could choose the school, and it wasn't such a big deal. Okay, so there's the second one. So these are just little raccoon earrings. Very cute. It sounded like it jumped up on the side of the house probably chasing a cat, and that's probably why the cat climbed on the side of the house. But I can't have dogs climbing my log cabin siding. The other one that was coming through, that was stealing crap off my front porch. It was stealing my front porch decor. And I was like, dude, that was Hobby Lobby. You bring it back. And the owner was like, oh, he is not. And we were like, oh, he is too. So owners don't always want to think that their animals are doing what they're doing. Anytime I have an outside dog, he has to be, like we always have blue heelers and stuff, so they have to be maintained. If you're not out with them, they have to be tied up or kenneled, because their little brains, they will go crazy and just, I mean, they never stop. So you constantly want to, make sure that they're not out and about and getting into something, because they're like ADHD toddlers. So we always had to be super careful with our animals. And now we don't have an outside dog. All we have is Oscar inside, and we have all the barn cats that seem to adopt us. So it's frustrating when other people's animals cause us grief. So there's my set of earrings. Raccoon earrings. I tore my nail to bits. But normally if you just yell out and, it'll follow, and the way I am, it'll follow up and they can hear me. They'll know that they came over here, and they'll know to put them up. I am the neighbor that nobody messes with. So I guess that's a good thing. I think it's because of my past work history that nobody wants to try me. They're just like, leave her alone. Okay, so I'm going to put this piece of turquoise in here so that I remember these are raccoon. Because I like to be able to tell people what they are getting without me having to sit there and go, hang on. Yeah, I like good neighbors. Like, good neighbors are neighbors that preempt issues so that there are no issues. Oh, that is so sad that dog got hit. See, you got to take care of your animals. And, and you got to realize that when your animal leaves your property, you don't know what it's doing. And it could turn into, the biggest little turd on the block. You don't know. And so all these ladies that are like, but my baby's a sweetheart. I'm like, you don't know what that baby is once it gets out of your sight. So stop. So I get a little irritated with people that pull that line on me a lot, and I'm like, nope. But now I grew up on farms and ranches and stuff where, animals had a use, and people knew the ones with bad attitudes that's the one the rancher wanted, because that dog would keep his herd safe. And that, I've never had to fuss with a rancher about your dog's mean. No, he's not, because a rancher, if you look at a rancher and you say your dog's mean, he'll go, by God, yes, he is. And you're like, yeah, buddy, he is. So you never have to worry about a rancher lying to you about his dog, because it's almost a mark of manhood to have the meanest dog on the block. I always got tickled. And you knew whose barn you could get in and out of safely, and you knew whose barn you need to sit in the truck and honk the horn until they showed up. Oh gosh, Chihuahuas are the meanest. It's the little ones you can't get a hold of to protect yourself sometimes that worry me the most. I'm here to tell you, any dog is dangerous. I mean, any dog can be dangerous, and I just don't play that game. And I don't like it when my neighbors think I want to play that game, because I did not sign up. I do not want to play that game. But we had 1 year somebody turned like a half Malinois loose, and it came over here and it tried to attack my mini ponies, my minis, and they're in woven wire fencing. It somehow dug in, and it was trying to attack my precious little ponies. And the cops come over, and I had video of it, and then the cops come over and saw it one day, and they were like, shoot it. Kill it. They're like, you have to protect your livestock, and that's a violent animal, and we can see that. And I was like, well, why don't you shoot it? And he's like, I can't, landowner has to. And I was like, well, can you stand here and witness this? He said, yes, ma'am. And I went inside, got a gun, I popped it. To which he said, very nice shot. And I said, thank you. And I said, I didn't want to make it suffer. I said, even though it's a butthole. And he said, I'm going to go notify the owner now if I can find him. He said, I haven't been able to find him the last several times this happened. Like, this is like the 17th time this dog had been chasing my animals. And the cop could never find the owner. Or the owner would say, that's, it's a dog that comes around here, but it's not really my dog. They play that game. And so the cop went over and said, hey, this dog is back over that area. It's normally we find it at your house. You've said several times it's not your animal. Therefore, we decided with this behavior, it must be a rogue. I allowed the livestock owner to dispatch it. We just came over here as a common courtesy to let you know why you will not be seeing this animal anymore. Oh, and he went crazy. That's my baby. And the cop was like, you should have told us the truth from the get-go. They said, we would have had you in court. He said, because it's been doing a lot of damage across this area and to people's livestock, people's property. He said, but we would have had an outlet to have taken so that we could have taken different actions today. He said, but sir, if you don't tell the truth and you don't act like it's your dog, he said, you leave somebody in this rural area with animals, kind of leave them up a creek with not another option to go for. And that little guy was so mad at me, and I felt bad for the animal because it just hadn't been taught any better, but I couldn't let it kill my miniature horses. And it was just so aggressive. It was so freaking aggressive. And if you have an aggressive animal, please take the time to work with it so that it knows how to behave. I've had aggressive breeds, and thank you, Jennifer. I've had aggressive breeds, and there's no reason not to work with them. It's so easy. Many aggressive breeds, once you give them the structure that they need and they desire, then they will do anything for you. And they're just great. But if you allow them to get at a certain age group, an age range without being trained, you got heck on your hands, and you'll never be able to control them. And that is what I believe happened to that dog. And I felt bad. I felt real bad. I talked to it when I buried it and told it I was sorry. That it got a sorry human and didn't have a good life. But I can't let it kill my animals. So we have a leash law, but it's only in the city, and I don't live in the city. So it's kind of, since we are out in the county, it's kind of keep the animal up if you want to keep the animal. And most people abide by that really well. And you just have a few people that just don't seem to think that their little angel may be acting like anything other than a little angel when it goes to visit the neighbors. So you just kind of have to educate people. And then if they refuse the education, you just got to do what you got to do. And people will get so mad, at somebody that has to dispatch an animal, but they're not willing to pay the vet bills or to help the person that had to dispatch the animal. They're not helping them pay vet bills on the livestock that they about killed, or the damage to the farm that they've done. They sure don't want to help that. So it's just one of those emotional situations. But the pay-to people went through the farm. Where are you wanting, Audie? Is Daddy home? Daddy's home. You're right. Oscar's telling me Daddy's home. The pay-to people went through the farm, went through the agricultural shed where the hogs, the sheep, and the cattle were, and turned them all loose. Now, you can imagine the stampede that happened. And I guess it was very concerning for authorities. They didn't want anybody to get hurt. And the authorities are arresting the people that they have deemed responsible. And I'm so happy this is happening, because my 4-H years and teenage years showing livestock was just at the start of this. People were just starting to pull these little things. And so I didn't see as much, but it's gotten worse. Look, here is a little tiny raccoon tooth with a little jasper bead on top. Is that not adorable? That's adorable. Yes, Daddy's home. Yes, your daddy's home. So excited. So excited. I don't think I have Google Chat, but you can always find me on Facebook under Elizabeth Waters. And you can always message my husband on his Facebook, which is Hillbilly Furs. So I'm going to finish up this raccoon earring set, and then I'm going to call it a day and do my dishes. But if y'all want to see, be part of a giveaway, let's do a giveaway tomorrow, and let's see what I end up making for the rest of the evening. And whatever I make that I think is the cutest, we will do a giveaway option on tomorrow. I will generate a number through a code generator, and whoever is that comment number under the comments will win the prize. So one of us will be talking and one of us will be counting the entire time that we're on tomorrow. So, okay, I've got my Lewis hoop already back on. So I'm going to finish this one and call it an evening and clean the house and spend some time with my husband. I don't get to see him that much. He's been working weekends. He had actually 2 off in a row. We were blessed. But I bet you we won't have that again for a while. So he's obviously went to the fur shop to check on some fur before he's coming in. So that's what he's doing right now. I'm going to finish this up and do some dishes. And then I'll see you tomorrow for our couples chat and our giveaway. So come back tomorrow and somebody will win a prize. Oh, you're very welcome, Fang. Thanks for sticking with me. I appreciate it. I'll see y'all tomorrow. Bye, guys. Nice chatting with you too, Music.